RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD, BlenderHD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Thursday, October 12th. We'll be taking a look at tonight's Broncos versus Chiefs Thursday Night Football Showdown slate on DraftKings, as well as some props and pick'em. We got the NFL projections out. The blitz projections, usage adjustments are in. So I got a ton of props and pick'em stuff in already. Hit that thumbs up on your way in the door. You know I like the thummy thumbs. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to always know when we go live. Joining me for the first time early here in the morning, it's Bobby Gomes. You're the, or as I call you, the OG Millie winner, who's on mute also, right? You have to get up in the morning.
Already started on mute. Wow, that's bad. First time on the show. Yeah. Long time ago that Millie would like to win one tonight. I know there's one up top for this showdown slate, so excited to talk about it with you, Blender.
Right. We have all the content already up for the Showdown contest tonight for premium members. We have Showdown HQ. It gives you links for all of our, the weather report, the grind down, the lineup optimizer values, the prize picks predictions, strategy articles, obviously lineup HQ, which has our player projections, our ownership projections. And the best part about this is that it also has our sim tool, which gives all the sim output. We run our projections, 10,000 simulations. Compare that to top 1%, 0.1% lineups. Shows you what the more optimal roster construction and player types versus their ownership. So we'll be looking at that on today's show. First order of business, Bobby. Big news, because we always first want to talk about what we should be looking at for tonight's game. So like any injury situations, every like who's in, who's out, what playing time. We have a couple of players like that. But I think the biggest news, Bobby, Taylor Swift will be at the game.
Will she?
Does that mean we have to raise Travis Kelce's projection, or is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I've been trying to figure that out. I think it's either I've been leaning towards bumping it down based on how he's played recently, but maybe tonight's a different night, Well,
he's going to regret. It's regression, Bobby. Just because he's performed poorly, he was injured practically for one game. So maybe this is where he comes back up and finally.
That's what I'm saying. I actually kind of hope that's the case because I think he's good leverage off of Pacheco, captain, who I think is going to get steamed here pretty as the day kind of progresses as well. So,
but I mean, yeah. he's listed with a Q tag. We saw in the last game he got his foot wrapped. They thought it was possibly a high ankle sprain, but it turned out to be a low ankle sprain, which is obviously much more easy to recover from. Do you think that Kelce is going to be a full go? I mean, if I'm assuming he's going to be active, but do you think that he's $11K on this showdown slate, so he's priced as if he's full strength Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
I mean,
he finished that game off. He finished that game off pretty solid. Like I wouldn't. Like he came back in. We didn't know if he was going to actually come back in. So yeah, I'd be fine with it. It's not a high ankle sprain, right? Like that's usually 4 weeks, maybe longer, 4 to 6. Low ankle sprain. I think he could tough it out.
Do you think that his ownership gets depressed because of that reason?
I hope so. And I think Pacheco's is going to get steamed because DJ Jones is out for the Broncos. It's like their run stuffer, defensive lineman. So. And he was already hitting projections pretty hard based on how the Broncos have kind of played versus their run here for this through these first 5 games or whatever. So, yeah, if it does get depressed, I'll be over on Kelce. What are your thoughts on? Obviously, Mahomes is going to hit everything tonight. How do you play like QBs on Showdown for captain? Are you Xing them? What's your strategy usually?
I mean, I'm just trying to build as differently as possible within reason. I mean, I'm not someone that I don't need uniques, but I want like under 5s, under 10s, that where it's a reasonable lineup that someone else could have played, but it just is much less duplicated than it should be. And Daniel Hutchins is in the chat saying that he's still running his it's Nerdy Tanner, if you don't know, he's running his Taylor Travis Sims to see if the Swifty effect will take part in this game. But to me, if you take a look at our projections, the Mahomes projection is just like he's like outside of 3 other people, he's like double the raw projection of like anyone else on the slate. It's hard. It's hard not to play him. I think the contrarian way to build on the slate is to play Russell Wilson at captain. So you play Russell Wilson at captain with Mahomes. The thing that I love about Bobby, that I love about Chiefs showdown slates, duplication factor goes down because the Chiefs have so many options. They throw to so many people, but that's a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing is that there's a lot of people to choose from. The bad thing is figure out who's the guy that you should choose. And I think the field is going to overplay the Chiefs. I'm much more considering. I'm much more considering playing a Bronco in the captain spot. I'm still playing Mahomes naked, like basically playing a lineup that's like 4-2. You know, you play 4 Broncos, 2 Chiefs, and you still play Mahomes. Like Mahomes is going to be popular, but yeah, Mahomes throws for 3 or 4 touchdowns, and they go to 4 different people, and they all have 30 yards. And it's not like you need any of them, but the Broncos stay in the game, and Russell Wilson has 303, and he's way cheaper. He's nearly $3,200 cheaper. Mahomes may have the highest raw score, but you can't fit in everyone without having Russ as the captain. So I think, I mean, we'll take a look at the Sims tool. Let's sneak preview. The Sims tool agrees with me.
So I feel like I'm having deja vu because I had this conversation over Javante Adams on Monday night with Mangone. I was pretty much trying to fade out Javante, and he was like, "Oh, just play him as a 4-2." I wish I had stuck with my original just fade Javante situation, but I understand like building him to where it's differentiated. I think that's pretty much fine. It's all basically the context of the slate and how it plays out. So yeah, I like the 4-2 structure of building in Mahomes. I think I as of right now, I'm leaning towards being underweight or fading, but we'll see. I mean, QB captains, they hit it a 15% rate over time for these showdown slates. So if he's going to be like 20% owned and captain, and people are going to have to play him 30 to 40 to get overweight, like it makes it difficult for me to like plant my flag on him. But I do like the Russ call, but that I guess would go for the Russ call also. He's showing what for a percentage in terms of the captain for ownership?
10% right now.
So maybe you could get over on Russ a little.
Well, I mean, you double. The thing is that the lineups with Russ and captain, you're going to be playing like Judy, Sutton, Dulcich, or we'll talk about that situation. I mean, you're going to be playing like 3 more Broncos in your lineup. Yeah, obviously Russ. I mean, Russ does run a little bit, I guess, when needed. But I mean, I think if Russell Wilson throws for 250, 300, passes for 2 or 3 touchdowns, I mean, obviously, I mean, we're more inclined to know where the ball goes. Yeah, you have those Brandon Johnsons in here, Marvin Mims in there, but I mean, I could build a lineup with just Russ Wilson, 3 pass catchers, Mahomes, and one of the, you play a Justin Watson or something. You play a Justin Ross, or you play some cheap guy, and you're good.
I would push back on we know where the ball's going because they're playing like a wide receiver by committee too, right? I would imagine like it seems like it's Cortland Sutton, Judy, Little Jordan Humphrey, Mims, Johnson. Like there's so many guys on this Broncos like in their wide receiver core. So I think it's a similar situation for me with Russ that it is for Mahomes, but we know like Cortland Sutton and Judy are getting a little bit more like target share than what the secondary receivers for the Chiefs are outside of Kelsey. So this is a difficult slate, I think, in terms of showdown.
Well, it's difficult in terms of figuring out what to do, but
figuring out
there's so many options. But it's showdown when you have all this duplication. You like having a lot more. There are so many more players. If we take a look at our projections that actually project for 3, 4, 5 median points. I mean, it's not like, a Vikings Chargers slate where there's like, the ball goes to like 3 people on each side and everyone else has a 1-point projection and you just hope they catch a 2-yard touchdown.
So you're right. $1 million up top tonight. It's probably more live. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like I was worried about coming on for the show because I feel like this slate in general would be kind of difficult for me to decipher, just because it just seems like everything's so spread out. Because we do feel comfortable with condensed usage, right? Like that's where we want to go. But usually when I see condensed usage, I'm trying to find the negative leverage off the condensed usage to kind of play in my captain spot. So the guy, like I keep thinking, I think Pacheco, like I said at the top of the show, I think he's going to get steamed up. Like, who's negative leverage off Pacheco? Well, Kelsey. Kelsey's banged up. Maybe he doesn't come in as high as he probably should in terms of his captain percentage. But we know that people are going to play Kelsey because it's a Chiefs slate and he's Travis Kelsey. So, I don't know, just interesting stuff like that.
I can tell you that what's negative leverage on Pacheco. You're not going to want to play it. It's
Chiefs D?
Yeah, the Broncos D.
The Broncos D. Yep. Not going to want to.
That would be.
That's the thing is like playing the uncomfortable situation. Not like that. I'm saying playing the Broncos D as captain tonight is like a great idea, but being uncomfortable in your captain position, I think that's when you're more on the right track. Like the Chiefs D for me is something that I'll definitely be playing in captain tonight.
At 5,600, I'm never a big fan of playing.
Oh, is it? I didn't realize the price. I'm sorry.
Right. I'm typically under on that. As Nerdy Tenor in chat says, the more options there are, the worse your opponent's overplayed chalk becomes. So that's why I like these types of slates, because there are so many more options, and I hope the field condenses to playing Pacheco and Kelsey and Mahomes captain lineups. And Chiefs captain lineups. I want it because the field will over condense, even though, we may be unsure, but people are much more, right? Bobby, you feel so much more comfortable playing Kelsey in the captain spot or Mahomes in the cat. You feel much more than plugging in like let's talk about him. Javante Williams, 7,200, is coming back from an injury. Does he slot right in? We have Jaleel McLaughlin up at 7K now. So they basically priced McLaughlin just in case Williams didn't play. He seems to be good, this McLaughlin kid.
He does seem to be good.
Most of our analysts, and including myself, I have the prop in Javante Williams under 38.5 rushing yards at -110. I don't think you could find that number anymore. I think he's down to 35.5. So 35.5, you missed 3 yards of value. So obviously get this stuff as early as you can. I don't have much interest at Javante Williams at 7,200 because I think they're going to mix in McLaughlin more and not just put him back in this. I don't think P. Ryan's role changes. But the other side of my shoulder, I have the projection angel on my shoulder, right, Bobby? I got the projection angel. I got the ownership devil on my other shoulder. Projection angel says Javante Williams, fragile projection, be aware, be uncomfortable. And then the devil is like, but he's going to probably be lower owned because of it. So what do you think about Javante Williams in tonight's game? We have him projected for 9.94 as a mean, which isn't that bad in comparison to like a Sutton and Rashee Rice up there. But I just feel that his range of outcomes leans a lot more towards the negative side than I don't see a situation where the upside is that Javante Williams comes back and gets 70% of the snaps and like all the goal line work. Like, I think it's much more likely that in either outlier case, it's more likely he comes back and only sees 30% of the snaps, right? And sees a lot of the work. Maybe the next game, he may get back up to 50, 60% usage. But this may be the game with a little bit more downside. And he's kind of priced in an underdog slot where they're, 11.5 point, 10.5 point underdogs. Do you want to play a $7,200, first and second down type of running back for a road dog that is coming back from injury and has a guy behind him that looked good last week?
Yeah,
am I steering the question too much? Am I getting you to say like, through all of that? No, I'm gonna. If he's 3% owned, I'm hammering him in all my lineups.
No, so the Javante Williams is kind of in a tough roster for me, like traditionally, but I understand the point. First and second down, depending on it's tough to see how I wonder how they're going to work him in, like what the snap percentage is going to be because Jaleel played very good last week. He had been creeping up, so how are they planning on utilizing him is something I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I feel like when the last he played 33% of the snaps. Actually, that doesn't work. So that was the game Javante Williams actually got hurt. He was chalked that week too. But his snap percentage from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 with Javante had increased. By week 3, he was playing 21% of the snaps, and Javante Williams was playing 42% of the snaps. I don't think they're going to go away from Javante. I think you're right. You can probably take the shot on Javante. I think I'd prefer him as a captain to Jaleel.
Well, yeah, there's no chance in the world that I play Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, not a chance.
Like he should be priced with Javante back. He should be priced at like 3,200. He should be
3,200. Yeah,
like wherever CEH is, right? Where's CEH? CEH is 1,000. How about that situation on the other side of the ball? You wanted leverage off of Isaiah Pacheco. What's wrong with playing some? Jarek McKinnon's 5,200. He's more of a pass catching role, but they don't like CEH. But he does come in. They do give him carries.
I'll be over on both CEH and McKinnon in the flex in terms of like captain ownership. Probably not getting there right for either, just because the volume is definitely not going to be there. But yeah, I think that getting different in terms of playing. I don't know. McKinnon does have those outlier games. He just hasn't touched the ball more than 5 times in a game all year. So, and I don't think the game
with PPR scoring on DraftKings. CEH at 1,000 doesn't need much to get there in a lineup where you're jamming in a lot of people. But he's going to get there primarily with a 2-yard carry in the end zone. He's going to fall in the end zone. Jerick McKinnon could get there without Jerick McKinnon, if they. Maybe he doesn't rush the ball, but he could catch 4 or 5 balls.
Yeah.
30 yards and a touchdown. And next thing you know, he's sitting there at 16, 18 points.
And that's
much more in his range than CEH getting that 18 points. CEH would basically need Pacheco to get hurt in order to sniff an 18-point game.
No, I'm with you. If you had to choose.
Dulcich? I not mean to interrupt.
Yeah. No, I think Dulcich is back, and Troutman's playing 90% of the snaps, literally doing the same thing MVS is doing, running wind sprints for the Chiefs, but Dulcich is doing it. Troutman's doing it for the Broncos. They seem to prefer Troutman, so I don't really know. Like you can get to Dulcich and at his price tag and try to work him in. I think that it's fine. Try to get ahead of it. But they seem to really like Troutman for whatever reason. Troutman had a touchdown last week. I could take an overweight stance on Dulcich, try to get ahead of.
It's not going to be 0% owned. It says that on the screen. Like we'll update this ownership. If he's 0% owned, I'll play him as the only one. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, he's not. He has. What do we have for? 0%'s not.
Yeah, because we haven't factored him in.
Coming up. Yeah. What are you doing with MVS? I feel like he's just a captain play. I just would completely X him in the flex.
What are you doing with all? What are you doing with all the Chiefs receivers?
At most one of Rice, Watson, and who's the other one?
Sky Moore.
At most, Sky Moore. At most one of those 3, I think, would be a rule I would set immediately.
It feels like they all should. It feels like outside of Kelsey, all these guys should be priced about the same. Obviously we've seen the upside with Rashee Rice, but he's 6,400. Sky Moore seems used. Sky Moore and MVS seem used. All these guys seem kind of useless. So my inclination is to I'd rather spend down, right? I'd rather play Kadarius Toney at 4K. Or take a shot at Valdez-Scantling at 3,400 or $2,200 Justin Watson or $600 Justin Ross, then just pay up for Rice or Sky Moore. Sky Moore I have his under 2.5 reception prop. already based on our projections. So like, because my goal is, I mean, obviously, I'm looking in the mid range of these Broncos. So
Yeah.
imagine like I'm gonna plug this in. I mean, I haven't like built the lineup or anything, but like if I play Russell Wilson at captain, right? I'm
I
gonna
think
go
we're
here.
firmly we're on the same page with these Chiefs receivers. Like it's going to be Tony and Watson. Sky Moore, I have zero interest in. Yeah, and then that rule that I had talked about. I like Rice, but I feel like Rice is going to get steamed. Was Rice really fantastic? I think. What do you play for?
I mean, his prop is low. I mean, it's like he has like a 35-yard prop. I mean,
Yeah.
none of these guys have like it's like Kelsey and that's it.
No, I'm with you. I feel the same way.
Right.
MVS, I don't like him. I don't really love MVS on the flex just because there's so little volume. Like I feel like if you want to take a shot on MVS, you just captain him. I don't even really want to play MVS at all, but
I mean, take a look at this type of lineup. This is the type of lineup that I'd be looking at. Russell Wilson, captain. I mean, obviously, it spends all the salary. Russell Wilson, captain with Sutton, Judy, and Brandon Johnson. Then you play Mahomes and Harrison Butker.
Yeah, that's the 2-4 that I would be like if I'm building Mahomes teams or if I decide whatever I decide to do. That's how my Mahomes teams are going to look because you're playing them differentiated, right?
Right. Or I'm playing them like, yeah, Mahomes goes 303, but it's the three different guys and they all have 30 yards. And Kelsey gets there with like he's sitting there with 18 points, but he's also way priced up and you can't fit him in.
But Kelsey's not on this team though. So like what I'm saying is you're playing him differentiated because a lot of the field is just going to plug Mahomes in with Kelsey, right?
Right.
So playing him in this 2-4 is the way to play him if you're going to play him.
Right. Or you could take out Mahomes. You could plug in Kelsey in his spot. So you're not playing Mahomes. You take out Brandon Johnson, and next thing you know, you put in Adam Troutman, right? And there you go. You still got your three. You got your three Broncos receivers, Kelsey, Butker, right? Like these are the lineups that I'm looking at a little bit more. We look at the Showdown Sim tool, which is available for premium members. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. We go down here. We see, it shows you. This will be updated, obviously, because Dulcich's ownership isn't in here, right? So this gets updated multiple times a day. Take a look at it at like 5 or 6 Eastern for the most accurate portrayal. But we see here that like the Chiefs are favored by 11.5, but this construction dynamic, yes, it leans heavier towards 5-1 Chiefs, 4-2 Chiefs, but this 2-4 here at 19%, typically on spreads with 11-point favorites, this is much lower. I mean, it typically skews a lot heavier towards the favorites. And then we take a look at captain usage by position. And compared to ownership, Russell Wilson is the highest leverage captain. He shows up optimal 15% of the time, but he's only going to be owned 10% of the time in our projections. Then we look at the flex usage, and you go down the entire flex usage, and practically like every Chief is overowned, right? Like practically. I mean, Pacheco's even, but I mean, most of the time when you see these blue bars higher than the orange bars, that means they're, negative leverage. They're overowned. We see here, it's like a lot of the Chiefs. McKinnon isn't. McKinnon may be the Broncos defense underowned. But like Rashee Rice, I mean, take a look at these Chiefs receivers.
Chiefs D, super chalky. I didn't even, wow, yeah.
Right, look how chalky they are. And this is their flex optimal rates. Rashee Rice, way overowned, right? Justin Watson overowned. Sky Moore is about even, right? Valdez-Scantling's a little overowned.
Brandon Johnson's going to get steamed, I would imagine.
Well, it depends. I mean, maybe people will be more inclined to take a shot on the cheap Chiefs receivers. I think a lot of people that play. I don't think people are going to be playing like Sutton and Judy and like they're going to. I mean, I think most lineups are going to try to fit in Mahomes and Kelsey. Once you start trying to fit in Mahomes and Kelsey, and one of them isn't the captain, it kind of locks you out. Like you have to think in terms of Mahomes, Kelsey, and Pacheco. If you play 2 of those guys and one of them is a captain, it's very hard to play Judy, Sutton, Wilson. It's hard to play those guys in like the 7 to 9K range. You have to go all the way down more. And you know who's in that range? All those crappy Chiefs receivers.
Yeah.
So my attitude is that out of the 2 of the 3, just only play one of those 3. I'm not saying to play 0 of those 3.
No, I'm with
I
you.
don't think-
That would be.
I don't think I'll have a lineup that has 0 of Mahomes, Kelsey, or Pacheco. I don't think I'm going to have that.
You're playing it in a unique way. Yeah, I feel the same way. That's how I would go. That's how I would build it as well.
Do you have any props, pick'em, anything?
Props, pick'ems. Let me pull up some stuff.
Because we have a props and pick'em package. If you're not playing DFS tonight, or you don't want to play that much DFS at all, you could use our props and pick'em tools, which includes analysis. But I mean, it's our projections. It's our DFS projections. That's one great thing is that you could play DFS, but you could also use DFS projections to bet on props, to pick things on Prize Picks and Underdog and those types of sites. And we have a props model. We have the statistical projections for NFL. We have statistical projections for NHL. Yesterday in NHL and college football. We have college football projections. So, Bobby, I told you this before the show. Yesterday, I made 4 college football prop bets, and I made 20 NHL prop bets. Now, the college football games yesterday were like UTEP versus teams that who the hell knows?
I'm with you on this. I've never watched a college football game all the way through in my life. I bet you used the projections to win your prop bets, and you didn't know one player on the team.
I didn't know one player. 4 out of 4 on the college football, 16 out of 20 on the hockey. And the hockey ones are the toughest ones. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why. I'm subverting. Well, they're not tough because it's like, you got to look here and then you got to click there. It takes me a little bit longer for NHL props, only because since I have not watched hockey since like Sidney Crosby was like a rookie and Ovechkin was like the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
I was a Rangers fan in New York. I have to always Google. Like what I do is that I look at our projections. I compare them to the lines. We have a prop model. I download the CSV and import it into Excel. But then when I see like Nathan McKinnon, under 4.5 shots on goal at a price, I have to go, okay, what team is Nathan McKinnon on? I got to like Google that because obviously you have to go to the team. You can't search by a name. So like, that's what I did yesterday, 20 different times of like, what team is this guy on? Who knows? 16 out of 20.
You definitely wanted. Yeah, we have really good NHL. I used NHL projections last night. I don't know a ton about hockey either, but I was happy with my teams, definitely. So I can understand why using the props would work out. I think Tasteful Tides does a good job with the projections.
Yeah, and Moneyball 16 does it as well. Yeah, we have very good NHL projections. So you also have to realize you have to be very comfortable embracing unders. Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things in props that, like to sweat props is not fun. So I kind of don't even bother. Right. It's one of those things where, yes, I have 6 unders in this hockey game. And I'm just like, I don't care. I want no goals to be, I want nothing to happen.
Nothing to happen.
What's the point of even looking at I'll wait for the game to be over and just see what happens.
Keep icing the puck. Yep.
Right. Keep on icing, keep blocking the shots. Right.
Blocking the shots. Yeah. Old time hockey.
Right. And you want no penalties. Right.
Yeah. No penalties.
Right. No, I don't want any power plays. If I have an under on a shots on goal, it's like, no power plays today. I don't even know what lines these people are on. I don't know. Like, I'm just like, I'm rooting for, I don't know. I don't even know what line this guy is on. He's under 3.5. He must be on one of the higher lines. I mean, you probably don't have a prop of 3.5 on a guy that's on, the checking line or something. I don't even know if they do that anymore. Dude, I have not watched or paid attention to hockey in like 20 years.
I actually, the last 2 nights I actually watched it. It's a good product. I don't mind the NHL. But yeah, I don't know I don't know enough to like, the projections definitely help me because without the projections, I'd be totally dust.
Right. You have to, you stack, but I mean, the main strategic thing in NHL is that you're stacking lines.
I know how to stack. Yeah. I had this conversation with actually Big T last night. I was like, yeah, I know how to stack. So it's pretty much, we're basically playing MLB, but It's just with stacking, right?
Yeah, but then you also have to figure out, don't they come out with like the lines? Like if they change their lines, you'll know that before the game.
Yeah. You'll know it like 30 minutes before it's finalized. That's what Tim Tasteful Tide. So I was checking in with him in the Discord. Our Discord was very helpful last night. So yeah.
Right. I had some goal props, and I hit the Pasternak goal. I hit the Austin Matthews goal. Right. I get some of those. And
did you have Bedard getting his first? You didn't go for
Bedard? I Bedard over half a point.
So I over projected Bedard. And then I took it back down. You know, Boston's like the Bruins. You always have that feeling. I knew the Blackhawks were going to play the Bruins tough last night, and everyone was kind of on the side of
I don't
like,
know any of this. All I know is I just look at a name on the spread.
No, I know. I'm just saying in general, like just from being a Bruins fan growing up and stuff, or I just had that feeling, that intuition that he was going to get his first. I should have bumped him, and I didn't bump him as much as I should have.
Right, here's our NHL DFS projections as of what, a half an hour ago or whatever, and obviously they'll update a little later also. So I mean, look, download a CSV; it's right there. So I mean, I just take this, and it's like, oh, okay, here's the points column, right? You take that, you convert the mean to a median, you compare it to the lines, and you just go, what's the line on who? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know who any of these, but Nick Bonino. It's like, oh, whatever. I guess he's on the Rangers, right? Or someone, or Mason Marchment, and you have, and mostly I'm betting shots on goal props.
Yeah.
So shots on goal, points, and goals. And then if it's plus EV, you can, all you have to do is convert the American odds to an implied probability, and you convert if you convert the means to a median, and there you go. So you have the 50th percentile, and you just go, it's like, oh, well, I mean, the simplest way of putting it is that, like, if his median is 2.5 shots on goal, and you're getting over 2.5 shots on goal at plus 110,
you're betting
it. Yeah. Right. And if you're getting minus 110, you don't take it, right? You take the under at plus 1, right? I mean, obviously, I'm giving you a number that's the exact line that would be on a sports book.
Yeah.
But I surely can't build an NHL model like this, so I'm just gonna spam our stuff. And the prop model even comes out later today. There's an NHL tab, so you could go to our site in the props and pick'em package, which is part of your premium membership. If you're a premium member, you get this also. You go to the NHL tab, and the stuff is still up from yesterday. You'll see a timestamp. You'll always see a timestamp.
And it's just giving you the best odds.
Right. It just gives you the top 20. Right.
Interesting. Yeah. I've actually never really used this.
Right. It gives you the top 20, but it won't compare to any specific book. So what you do is you use an odds screen. You can go to scoresandodds.com or any other odds screen. There are others. And then you just take a look. So like yesterday, what I would do is I go, like, I had Jordan Martinook, for instance, under 2.5, right? It shows the win percentage here. So this is the win percentage of an under 2.5 according to our prop model. Under what's 66% in American odds? Minus 200, right?
Yeah.
It's very easy. That's an easy one to convert. You could also go to the Action Network, get the odds calculator. You could put it on the screen, even put in all of these. So I know that his under is priced by our model at minus 200. And then I go and I look at an odds screen and I see that DraftKings has his under at minus 130, which means it's plus EV.
Plus EV. Yep.
Right. But Caesars had it at minus 120 or minus 119.
So his price efficiently at Caesars. So
no, his price even worse at Caesars.
Even worse at Caesars.
Right, because it's supposed to be minus 200. So I get an extra 11 cents of value by not just simply betting it on DraftKings, but making sure that I'm getting the best price, getting minus 119 on Caesars. And what I've noticed early on in the season, I mean, this is 2 days.
Small sample size.
Small sample size. Some of these NHL props are way off on Caesars. On the shots on goal. But
so I've never
goals, on the other hand, their goal props are awful. Like to me on Caesars, I compared goal props, and like, dude, like they're just taking advantage of people. On some, I mean, I compared goal odds between like one FanDuel, which tends to be a little bit sharper, and Caesars, and they were like FanDuel would have Caesars would have a guy at like plus 700 to score, right? And FanDuel would have him at like plus 2,200.
Wow.
Right? But then you go to the shots on goal stuff, and some of their lines, FanDuel would have like under 2.5 minus 120. And then you go to Caesars and it would be under 2.5 plus 104. So I'm like,
yeah,
that's like almost a quarter of that. Like it's 20% of value. I'm rushing over there. It's not every prop, but like
I'm in Mass. Can I even bet on Caesar? Like we just got sports betting. So for me, a lot of this stuff is like, I really haven't hit a ton of props. And
well, I just got it. I just got it like 15 days ago.
Oh, you just got it like 15 days ago?
Yeah, but I'm also used to, Bobby, I'm also used to doing this. I've been doing this for the past year or so on PrizePicks and Underdog. It's just that PrizePicks and Underdog, you got to find, 5 of them. They all have to be better than minus 120. It's a little bit different. With the regular sports books, like I don't need a certain, like it has to be minus 120 or better, or minus 137 or better. It's just like no, let me just, does it have an edge, get the best price, and I'm done. I don't have to hit 5 on a day or anything like that.
What props
16 out of 20, I'm good.
What props do we like for this football game?
Oh, for this, let's look at the prop model. Now I also have the blitz.
It likes MVS. I saw it liked MVS.
No, I think it's the opposite of that.
It's the opposite?
Right, receptions under. We have based on our RG projections, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 1.5 under, 74% win rate.
Yeah, I'm maxing him.
MVS.
Yeah.
Right.
So it likes it to bet it, right? So
no, but it depends on the price. Yeah. It depends on the. I always want to clear. This is a learning show. So 74% is close to what, like 75%?
Yep.
Right. So what's 75% in American odds?
It's on 3/4.
Minus 300.
Minus 300. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Dude.
So if you go, if you, let's say, I'm not saying you'll ever find this at minus 300, they'll just move the number. But what this is saying is that under 1.5, the break-even point would be minus 300. So if you found MVS under 1.5 at like minus 175, that should be profitable. It's like, well, I'm 170. Like I'm not getting that much. It's not. It's like it's still profitable, right? We have some of these, right? Win percentage here. You take a look and you just compare those odds to the odds on the book, and here we go. I mean, we have Sky Moore receiving yards under 24.5.
So 70%.
Right. At that number. Now, if you go to a book and it's at 22.5, that doesn't mean you take the under. I mean, it probably does at 70% win rate at 24.5. So like every point matters. So it's not simply, that's why I said before with Javante Williams. Like I got Javante Williams under 38.5 at minus 110. That's much different than under 35.5 at minus 110.
Yeah.
Right. That's much different than under 32.5 at minus 110. Right. So like get the best price, get the best number. Like I know sports betting may be new to you and you just got it in your state, Bobby. But if I you know me.
It's not like
I want every cent. I want the cheapest price. I want the best number. I'm going to fight for that.
So we never had props because local books, they don't give, very rarely get local books where they give props. So I pretty much, like I bet, like I don't bet a ton, like sports bet a ton, but familiar with it. But in terms of like props and stuff, like not really in terms of like doing this stuff. Well, obviously we play DFS, so I should be.
Right. That's the whole thing, is that it's a very seamless kind of like, we're used to thinking in terms of player ranges of outcomes and using projections, knowing what they mean, right? Knowing what simulations mean, knowing, you don't have to be, you don't have to be a data scientist. You just know the basics, just simple odds conversions and simple. I mean,
that's what I would have to. I have to figure out odds conversions. What?
Right. And Bobby, you don't have to worry about anyone else.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Like I didn't
But I
need to
still have to
have
beat a
I
book,
didn't
though,
need to
right?
have
Like I feel like,
Vancouver in my lineup in order to win because I didn't have a lineup. I just had props, so like it
yeah,
didn't matter to me,
no,
right?
I
So when
get you.
Austin Matthews in Toronto, the power play line does well, my props do well. But I don't lose money because it's not like, Vancouver, like, okay, so what if Vancouver died? Like, dude, it already paid out. It already settled,
It already
right?
settled. I
Doesn't
get what you're
matter.
saying.
So, Bobby, do you have anything coming out for NFL this week?
Any NFL? We have the tournament take show tomorrow night. And then Sunday we have Grinders Live, me, Dean, and Tasteful Tides, which I really like. I really enjoy doing that show. Yeah, and then expert survey, just stuff like that coming up.
Okay. And you can follow Bobby on Twitter, Bobby GOMES DFS. Make sure that if you do reply to him, that you also post your head-to-head record, right? That's a requirement.
One of those
Right.
odds looked like Levitan's head-to-head record versus me in 2018. It's like
Right.
a 77% win rate.
Yeah, it's also 5 years ago, right? And also,
6 years
you're
ago,
not really
yeah.
a cash player to begin with, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you were kind of just fooling around. You were joking,
I was messing around
messing
with
with him, and he's
balls.
like, "Well,
Yeah.
is this you?" It's like, no, Levitan. He's just fucking around.
Adams obviously one of the best in the industry for a long time. So,
But that was my notice is that I'm gonna go look up my head-to-head record anytime me and you disagree on Twitter. It's just like, is this you? And
I feel like I have to take his game this week, but I don't know.
You would have crushed him this week. I think
I'm waiting.
the worst result
waiting
I've
for
ever
the right
seen him.
week. Yeah.
Right. Because
Yeah.
typically with him, what I love about Levitan is that he does mostly head-to-head action and he gets a lot of whales, right? So he gets a lot of people that for ego purposes, want to play against him.
I feel like he gets
1,000.
So that's for me. I'm always wondering, like, because of his following, he must get a lot of, like, cash games have dried up for a lot of really good cash game players, right? But
Right.
because of his following, he probably still gets good games, I would imagine, why he's probably still plays cash. But for me,
Right.
like, obviously I'm a tournament guy, so yeah.
Right. I play cash games as well in NFL. And my favorite is when, I score, 15 points higher than him and he wins more head-to-heads than I do.
Like, a lot of these guys are trading rake basically at the higher end.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's nice if you have that pool to where, I can play whoever, but a lot of people can't get games anymore, you know.
Well, that's why do you think I've devoted most of my cash volume to props?
Yeah,
I mean, pretty much that's what I've done. I've kind of like I used to play NBA cash. I used to play, some MLB, I guess, but I mean, a lot of my volume now is in props and pick'em because
interesting.
It's just easy. It's just easier. Like it's almost.
I have to learn how to do this. Well, be more involved in like doing props, and I don't know. Yeah, there's
so much out there. So I mean, like, dude, there's tennis. There's, esports stuff. There's soccer. I mean, you could sit in front of your computer for 16 hours a day and not ever stop.
So all of your cash game volume is in props, you're saying, correct?
Well, not all of it, but I'm saying like in NFL, like on an NFL Sunday, I will have more volume I will have probably 2 or 3 times the volume in props than I will in DFS. Entirely. I'm talking entirely, not including my GPP action. So it's like my volume is like 75% props and pick 'em and 25%. But it used to be the other
way around.
Right. Yeah. And I'm talking about a high enough volume. I mean, I was regularly playing on, like last year, somewhere between $5,000 and probably between $4,000 and $8,000 of volume in total between DraftKings and FanDuel. And now, like, my volume between the both sites is like maybe 1,500 or 2,000, but I'll have 6,000.
It makes sense though if you're getting better, like if you're getting better games, going through props. You know what I mean? Or getting better.
And you get them as early as possible, and then a lot of the time, by the time Sunday rolls around, it's like I'll have like Like right now for tonight's game, I have my main prop that I got the earliest was Isaiah Pacheco under 77.5 at minus
Yeah.
110. It's like the number's already down to like 73.5, right? So
So I
it's
have a
like getting
question.
that value that way.
When they know they like, do you get limited quickly? Like, how quick are they limiting you? Like,
Well,
if you're jumping on lines that early?
not at all. I mean, at my level, they
Yeah.
probably don't
Oh,
care.
they don't care. Yeah. They're
Right?
just
I'm not
taking it.
maxed. The thing is that I'm not I'm not greedy. I'm not maxing out. Right? I'm $100, $50. In
Yeah.
NHL yesterday, Bobby, I did 20 props for $30 each.
Yeah. No, I
At
get what
that,
you're saying.
so at
So they
that
just
level,
don't.
I don't think
Yeah.
they care. As long as you're
They
not
want that action. They don't care about. They just don't want to get hit. Pretty
right.
much is when
Right.
they're
They just
limiting
don't want to get
people.
hit.
Yeah.
Don't be, when NBA comes around, the thing that I suggest, it sounds counterproductive. When NBA comes around, we always have the 2:30 in the afternoon, so and so's out. If your first instinct is I'm going to rush to DraftKings and try to get all the overs on everyone before they take it down. And dude, they take this stuff down like in like 15 seconds. Like you have
Yeah.
you would need to be logged in and you better. But you know what happens when you do that? Your account's going to be nuked, right?
Yeah.
Because they immediately are just like, no, you ain't taking advantage of the 15 seconds of information arbitrage, and then you're trying to put down $500, $1,000 a prop on these. Like that's how people are getting limited. I
Yeah.
talked to someone, like Bobby. I talked to a sharp sports better that like I have bet 365 here in Kentucky, and their
Yeah.
lines on props, especially for NFL, are really soft. Okay, and most people that I've talked to say, bet 365. Oh, you last about 2 days there, and it's like I've lasted 15 days
Because
already.
you're
And then
playing
people go,
very.
how are you doing 15 days? It's like, well, I'm doing $30 a prop. And they
So
go,
like,
when I was on Bet 365, I did 2,000 on
yeah.
yeah. And at that level, yeah, I can understand why they limited you. It's like dude, I'm going on Bet 365 for the playoffs. I was putting down, they had home run props that were off. So you know how much I was putting down on them? $10.
$10. So I have a
Right?
question. Do you think that they should be able to limit players? Like, isn't that something that should be discussed in terms of legislation going forward if gambling is going to be a thing?
No, it's are they limiting based on age, race, gender, and then
I
they have
just
every right to do so.
maybe this could be a terrible take because I don't like obviously I don't like sports bet a ton. Um, but if they offer a line, I feel like they should have to offer that line to everyone. You know what I mean?
That's what Bobby. That's what I agree with.
Yeah.
But the thing is that what I think is poor consumer practice or consumer violation is that we have a TV, an overpriced TV, right? Or some whatever, an underpriced TV, but we'll only sell it to you, but not him, right?
Yeah. That's what I don't agree with
I
that.
can understand a limit. Like if you want to say that NHL props, we're going to limit to $100, but no one could bet more than 100. Like it's if you're going to take,
That's
there's
how they
reason,
should
there's
do
no
it.
reason
That's
why
how they should do it.
I could stand there with my app, and then a rando. I could get just some random person that knows nothing about sports betting, and they open up an account, and I'm standing there going, I'm going to bet $100 on this thing, and the site says your max bet is $8.32, and then this person goes for the same exact, like if it wasn't for the username, it's the same money that they're taking in, and they go to put $100, and it says thank you, and they take the $100 bet. To me, that's unfair business practice. If you're limiting across the board on a market, I think that's perfectly fine. And I could see limiting a person in certain aspects to a global limit. Like if
Yeah.
Bet 365 wants to tell me after a while, it's like, yeah, we see that you're betting $30 a prop, and you're getting a lot of CLV, and you're doing well. We're happy to take your action at $30 a prop, but we just want to let you know you're not going to be able to bet Like, if you thought that you were going to do this for $30 and then turn it into 100 or 200, we're not going to allow you to do that. And I'd be like, okay, I'm perfectly fine with that. And they say across the board, and it's just across the board, and that's it. But to have sites that go, yeah, you're limited to like $2.14, you're essentially saying go away.
Yeah, which I don't think is. I wonder if this will ever change. Like, I don't think that's fair to basically do that to everyone. You know what I mean? I wonder how that kind of, as gambling becomes more prevalent, I wonder if there will be changes in terms of that.
No, because the people in power don't know anything. These legislators don't. They don't know.
It's also that like gambling obviously has a negative connotation to it, right? So it's like, oh, we're helping out a gambler. You know what I mean? Like that's where I feel like it probably gets lost in translation too. But I just feel like they should be offering the same lines to everyone.
No, it makes sense. You can follow me on Twitter at BlenderHD. Tomorrow, I have John Breslin, Squirrel Patrol, on the show. We'll be going through GPP strategy for the NFL Week 6 slate on DraftKings, stacks, games, and let's see what the injury situation on some of these things are. Obviously, you could sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month or the props and pick'em package. Tonight, the pre-lock show for Broncos versus Chiefs. Go click that notification bell. You'll know when it goes live. We got NBA coming back in 13 days, 12 days, right? So this show in the morning, we're going to have NBA. We'll have some NHL, mostly NFL, because people love the NFL. We want to talk the NFL. So it'll be a very busy time. Send in your questions to the mailbag, questions@theoryofdfs.com, and I'll answer them, because that's what I do here. Answer those questions, DFS strategy, everything you're thinking about today in daily fantasy, props, and pick'em on RotoGrinders Today.